the entire state turns to this college team.
Well, they don't have pro franchises in some places, and as we go on, and more graduates from these universities, and they're getting bigger and bigger, it's become a great social leveler and social force in some places, and it's almost, and maybe it is just too important for what's supposedly an institution of higher learning, but turns out to be an institution of higher scoring.
And they make a lot of money on that football as well. You're tuned to Ring Talk Live Worldwide. Larry Merchant, the godfather of the HBO crew, is in the house.
Special alert for consumers struggling to pay taxes. There are new tax regulations, not published yet. We have the inside track on your new tax savings. These programs are designed to help struggling taxpayers like you. The COVID relief programs are gone, but there are new programs to help struggling taxpayers, and we have the inside track. Call now and we'll take you through these new programs. These taxpayer savings programs have never been available until now. Get out of tax trouble now. It doesn't take weeks. It can happen in one phone call. Call now and get the inside track to get rid of your tax problems.
Call the tax helpline now. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. 800-949-0039. That's 800-949-0039. Do you need to sell your home? If you've sold a home before, you remember how stressful and expensive it was. Sold.com is here to help you sell your home for the most money and with the least amount of stress. There are new ways to sell your home that you've never heard of before. Did you know there are companies who'll offer you cash for your home? Did you know you could trade in your home for a new one? Did you know there are realtors who'll sell your home for a flat fee instead of an expensive commission? It's true. Sold.com services are free. So if you're looking to sell, make this free phone call right now and learn how your next home sale can be faster and easier than you ever thought possible. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's 800-251-7816.
I've got a question for you. Do you want a lower car payment just by making a phone call? You know, most people buy a car and they pay whatever the car dealer says their interest rate is, and they forget about it and make payments. But did you know there is a secret in your contract that allows another company to refinance any car payment to try and lower it? It's true. There is indeed a company out there that knows the ins and, more importantly, the outs on car loans, and they know how to lower your current car payments. It's easy and fast, and you could have a lower car payment next month. Make this free call right now and find out if you could lower your existing car payment. Call the Car Savings Hotline right now. The call is free.
Call now. 800-605-1680. 800-605-1680. 800-605-1680. That's 800-605-1680.
Now, more of Ring Talk with Pedro Fernandez.
Here's looking at you, kid.
My man Scott Cuddy with that fine introduction. You're tuned to Ring Talk Live Worldwide. Your inside look into the world of boxing and mixed martial arts. Last night, HBO rolled out a pretty good card on HBO Boxing after dark, of course, with Guzman winning over Soto in the main event. But the precursor to all this, of course, was a replay of the Sugar Shane Mosley Miguel Cotto fight, which was a pretty good fight. I mean, no question about it. It was a pretty good fight. It was, of course, part of HBO's pay-per-view card last weekend. Larry, did Shane Mosley's age show a little bit there?
It might have been. I mean, I think that looking at that fight, you say to yourself, the Shane Mosley of 5-6 years ago wins it. But I think for him to fight the way he fights, which is not like an old man, not like a guy who's afraid to get hit, which is how most veteran fighters fight. It was a hell of a good performance. It was a very close decision. Can I tell you something that's really odd?
Go ahead, sir.
Mosley got the three judges gave him 1 round in that fight.
You mean that's all they could agree on?
That was the only they could agree on. That, you know what that means? That at least one judge gave Cotto 11 rounds. You could say almost that that's a definition of the hometown factor.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a close fight. I have no problems with the result, 7-5.
Yep.
Most people thought it was. I thought it was a hell of a good fight. And I think it's conceivable off that fight that if Cotto is not available for Mayweather next year, by the middle of next year, assuming Mayweather beats Hatton, that Mosley, by fighting that well, could be the next opponent for Mayweather.
I was talking with Emmanuel Stewart this week, and I talked to him on last week's show, and he talked about closing the fist. And I know a whole lot about this because in the amateurs, we fought with different gloves sometimes. Sometimes you could close the glove and make a good fist, and other times you couldn't. And when you couldn't close your glove all the way and make a real tight fist like you can in the Reyes gloves as a pro, okay, you lacked punching power, and it took about 25 to 30% off your shot, I think. And Emmanuel agreed with me. And when we looked at Mosley a lot of times, Mosley doesn't ball up that right hand like Tommy Hearns did. He doesn't hold that right hand as tight. Sometimes when he hits, it's not all the way closed, and I think that takes a little bit of the power off his shots.
Look, when he was a lightweight, he was one of the best lightweights of the last
Half
generation.
Century, yeah.
He had 32 fights as a lightweight and stopped 30 opponents.
True.
And like every fighter that moves up in weight, you lose some of your power, and you have to fight a little bit differently. And he's had a great career. You know, there's been very few Shane Mosley fights that you walked out of thinking you wasted your time and your money. And to me, that's all you can ask of a prize fighter.
No question about that. Larry, with that, I wish you the best. I loaded the Godmother for me, and I'll be talking to you during the week, sir. Godfather, all the best. You're the greatest.
Thank you very much, Pedro.
He is the greatest, folks. No question about that. Is the Godfather, Larry Merchant, the HBO crew. Man, I feel privileged to be on the radio with him, just to know him. I mean, he's such a great guy. People don't know him. People say he's a smart ass. What people used to tell me. He's not a smart ass. He's smarter than most of us. Smart guy, not a smart ass. That is a retired HBO Godfather in a nutshell. I'm talking about Mr. Larry Merch. Of course, we'll have him on the tomorrow show. He's 94 years young, knocking out all bums at 94 years old. But he and I have been doing this act together. We're good. We're good. Like George Foreman told me one time. We were in Houston, Texas, doing Galveston, Texas, doing a FNN television. Of course, when he knocked out J.B. Williamson, I did the TV for that. And, of course, being both former San Francisco Golden Glove champions, he said, we went back and forth. He says, we're going to put on good actors. We're going to, what? So George starts screaming, Tyson. I know what he's doing, the whole 9 yards. We're going back and forth. We had a great time. But he said to me afterwards, we're a good act together. Well, guess what? Me and Larry Merchant have been a good act now for 40-plus years. Straight up, the retired HBO Godfather appears on the Sunday edition of Ring Talk Live Worldwide, coming to you at Sunday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's 2 p.m. 11 a.m. Pacific time. That's 2 p.m. Eastern time, live on Sports Byline. I do want to mention the fact that I've got some great guests in the, some special guests, some special almost family members in the studio. Of course, I'm talking about Sonia, Mike Carroll. Mike Carroll being the butcher extraordinaire. If you ever want to dismember somebody's body, Mike Carroll's the guy to call. No doubt about that. Straight up. You are tuned to Ring Talk Live Worldwide. Now, I'm about to break something. Remember when I got on the Hulk Hogan thing, the Hulk Hogan bandwagon? I didn't want to get on it, but I knew some things that other people didn't. Being a former cop, I sort of figure things out. I can read through police reports, figure things out. Anyway, when he took when they gave him Narcan twice in the ambulance on the way back to on the way to the hospital when he was dying, why would they give him an opiate reversal once, let alone twice? Why would they do that to him unless he was suffering from an opioid overdose? They're not denying it. It's part of the record. It's not something Pedro's making up, pontificating. No. This is straight up. This is the way it went down. Anyway, so I was right on that. That's just the way it is. I'm right most of the time. When I'm wrong, I tell you, but I was right on that one. Now, what I'm about to say right now is going to shock a lot of people. In fact, people on the Sports Byline broadcast network might roll over and drop dead on this one, but I think Dwayne Johnson's next. Why do I say that? The 53-year-old son of Rocky Johnson, of course, a young man that I met, I want to say it was 1974, 1975, something like that, out to Cal Palace when his father was wrestling with Pat Patterson and Pepper Gomez and guys like that under Roy Shire. Of course, Roy Shire was a promoter out there. Let me tell you how Roy Shire took care of Pedro. Damn, I miss Roy Shire. People hated Roy Shire. They hated him. I loved him. Why? Because he let me scalp tickets to his event. I was the only one he allowed scalp tickets for, and he would sell me bulk tickets before the fight. In other words, during the intermission of your current card at the Cal Palace, we would at Cal Palace watching like Patterson and Stevens, something like that, and they would have this intermission. So in the intermission, I would go in the back to Roy Shire's office, and Roy would peel me off 50 tickets. Okay, and I would pay for 50 tickets. I think it was like $3 a pop, and of course I would go over to the bus stop before the next card and sell them for like 15 or 20. That's just the way it went down. So the bottom line is he knew I was making money. And one time, I'm getting off subject here, but one time Roy Shire gave me 50 tickets to the 18-man Battle Royal, and I sold each ticket for $100. I paid $3 each. Some lady showed up and she said to me, I'll give you, how many tickets do you have? I said, 18. She goes, I'll buy them all from you. I went, you will? She goes, yeah. I said, well, I want $100. She goes, okay, $1,800. Ah, it was the biggest score I ever made in my life. Me and my partners went home. When I got home, my mother said to me, where did you steal this money? She accused me of, Mom, come on. She couldn't believe it. And then when Mom found out what the hustle was, as far as me hustling tickets, right? Get your ass out to hustle a little more. Because, I was selling newspapers and hustling tickets. I was making money. Anyway, back to Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson did this movie, filmed this movie recently. Of course, talk about The Smashing Machine. It's a movie about Mark Kerr. Mark Kerr was a guest on this show many years ago. Of course, that's when he was running MMA for Lenny Fresquez Jr. out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. I would say that was about 1990, somewhere around there. Anyway, he was hot. There's no doubt about it. But he had major issues, steroid issues, pain issues. Of course, all these guys, the pain that they go through, people say to me, why do they all end up on pain pills? Because they're hurting. I mean, nobody takes pain pills. Oh, you know what? I'm going to take some pain pills just for the hell of it. No, you're hurting. That's why you take pain pills. And that's why most of these wrestlers have died in the past 25 years. Anyway, Dwayne Johnson, Mark Kerr, he wants to do the Mark Kerr thing. He begged to do the Mark Kerr. They said, listen, man, you got a body like a dad now. You know what I mean? You're a good-looking dad, but you got a body like you got a dad body now. You're like over 50 years old, man. He kept you messing around and trying to play Mark Kerr in his prime in the UFC and all that kind of stuff. He goes, well, what if I take some of what Pedro calls Flintstone vitamins? What if I take some Flintstone vitamins, steroids, and performance-enhancing drugs and get pumped up? What if I do that? Well, still don't think you do it. I'll sign the contract. I'll do it for free. I mean, Dwayne Johnson was willing to do this role for free. I call him for free. I couldn't believe what. Anyway, so he gets himself in all this great-looking shape, the whole 9 yards, right? And then afterwards, he begins to crash. His health begins to crash. He starts to lose weight. His chest is now, he can still do movies, but he can do them, pirate movies with his sunken chest. That's what's happened to Rock Johnson. He's got the guy looks really bad. You just wouldn't believe it. I'm telling you. So, Knights of the Caribbean or something like that, if that's in his future, maybe, because I don't think he's going to last that long. Listen, when guys start to go downhill, they go downhill fast, even if they got money, because when you mess around with your body and you take steroids and performance-enhancing drugs, you pay a price eventually. You pay a price. I mean, Hulk Hogan took steroids into his 60s. He's so goddamn lucky, excuse my language, that he made it as long as he did. And the fact that Ric Flair has outlived him just blows me away. Ric Flair has done more cocaine Ric Flair, he is responsible for the Peruvian coke epidemic of the 1970s and 80s. I mean, he brought it here. He had his own mountain. I mean, the guy did everything, right? Drinks like a fish, the whole 9 yards. He's still going. Hulk Hogan's dead. Figure it out. Straight up, you are tuned to Ring Talk Live Worldwide. But, Mark, I think that the Mark Kerr movie is going to be pretty cool when it comes out, because I think Dwayne Johnson's not a bad actor. I mean, he's a good actor. But this is the last act. I think this is the epilogue as far as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's concerned. This is a guy that I remember back in the 1970s. His mother was Peter Maiva's daughter. And, of course, the Samoans were all out there at Cow Palace. Let me tell you how the Samoans were. The Samoans thought this stuff was, when I say spit on the show, I mean spit with an H, okay? But when the Samoans thought this spit was real, okay? So when the bad guys came out, the guys that were going to fight Peter Maiva or Pat Patterson and that,